Hello everybody. In this video we'll try to understand some more mysterious things about Ashwini Nakshatra. In so much of astrological literature you can see Ashwini Nakshatra is a Ketu Nakshatra. It is the first Nakshatra in the whole Nakshatra system. So this kind of details are present everywhere, but we will try to talk about some mysterious things about this Nakshatra in this video. See, according to Rigveda and Puranas, there's a story related to Ashwini Kumaras, that are the deities of Ashwini Nakshatra. See, the story is Sanjana, unable to bear the Surya's blazing heat, took the form of a mare. It means mare is nothing but a female horse, and she fled. Then Surya, realizing this, took the form of a stallion as a male horse and united with her. Then from their union were born the Ashwini Kumaras, basically. That is Ashwini Kumaras, or we say Ashwins. So those are the divine twins with horse features, or we can say associated with horses. Now, if you observe this story is surely a mythological story. But what is a mythological story? What is it basically? See, the story of Surya and Sanjana isn't meant to be taken as a literal history like a modern biography. It belongs to the mythic symbolic language of the Vedas and Puranas, a way of expressing deep spiritual and cosmic truths in humanly relatable form. So, our ancient saints used personification to explain some unseen forces of life. So it is a symbolic representation, but it is not a literal representation, right? So what is Surya basically in this story? Surya represents the consciousness. The consciousness. So when there was nothing, there was something called as consciousness. And Sanjana means awareness. So when there was nothing, there were two things, as consciousness and awareness. And of course, awareness was also part of the consciousness. But later, of course, it's something like the awareness took an energy in the earthly plane. That is what represented as a female horse in the story. So their union is the meeting of this awareness and consciousness, the two forces that sustain the cosmos, right? So now if you understand why they become horses at all, see, the horse, Ashwa, in the Vedas stands for prana, the vital force that moves everything. So when the sun and awareness take the form of horses, it means consciousness and energy have entered motion, creating life and vitality. So the twins born from that union are symbols of life and healing, the balance of body and spirit. Those are basically the Ashwini Kumaras. So the philosophical understanding is very much important here. See, if you see outer form, it has a mythological story. You can only see gods, forms and events. But what is the inner meaning, the psychological meaning? It's actually the consciousness. The sun is the consciousness, Sanjana is the awareness. They interact within, producing life energy. Those are Ashwini Kumaras. Those are the Kumaras of Ashwini. So you can clearly see the union of consciousness and awareness brings creation into motion. So now you can clearly see that this whole story is not just a mythological story. It is actually explaining the creation of the universe. It's true in essence, not in its essence is not in chronology. It's a spiritual truth expressed as a story. So the ancients didn't separate science, psychology and spirituality. Myth was their way of teaching how the universe and human life mirror each other, right? So if you look at This way, the story of Surya and Sanjana isn't a fantasy, it's a cosmic metaphor for how consciousness, awareness, and life energy created this whole world, right? So see, and one more thing is, so many people ask me why the hearts, always hearts. See, the reason the hearts was chosen to represent life force here, prana, is both symbolic and experimental. The seers didn't pick it arbitrarily, The hearts perfectly embodied what they were trying to convey about the movement of life energy, right? So the hearts is pure motion. In the ancient world, no creature expressed speed, power, and breath like the hearts. It runs tirelessly like the wind, the Vayu, which is the carrier of prana, right? When you're breathing, Vayu is the force. If there is no Vayu, can you live in the next 2 minutes? No. So basically, when the Vedas speak of the sun's horses, they actually mean the rays of energy and the currents of prana moving through the cosmos. Right? So that is the fundamental thing. Here you need to understand that the consciousness and awareness, consciousness as the sun god Surya and awareness as Sanjana. When they unite, we got two Kumaras, Ashwini Kumaras. Those are nothing but life and healing. Life and healing. So why there are two always? There are two things required. That's why in the universe, on the earth, you see only with two people you can see the life is forming, right? So now I will try to explain you so many things. In this, you can get so much of knowledge about this particular, um, uh, this particular creation. That's why Ashwini is the first nakshatra. It is the creation, the nakshatra where you're seeing it. It is of course it is very so many light years away from the earth. This particular Ashwini nakshatra. But that is the place where this creation is started, right? So hearts symbolism is very much important. Hearts became the natural and perfect emblem of movement, vitality, and the cosmic rhythm of life. And another important thing I want to tell you, you may see the heart's steps. They are related to, somehow they are related to our heartbeat, right? So the heart's rhythmic steps and the human heartbeats correspond both numerically and symbolically. Numerically also roughly around 80 to 100 per minute, the steps of hearts and even the heartbeat. So the breath here is very much important. That is nothing but the prana, right? Before the breath, you can see there is some energy called as prana. That prana is Ashwini basically, right? That's why these people, Ashwini Kumaras, they are saying they are the divine gods. They are creating something, the prana they are creating, right? So Ashwini Kumaras are basically representing the life and the healing, because in order for life to move, healing is required. And when healing is present, life will move. Both are actually the two sides of a single coin, right? So this is very much important when you try to see this Ashwini nakshatra, when you try to feel this. Because Surya is the pure consciousness and Sanjana is the pure awareness. And what it means, she leaves the sun, awareness withdrawing from direct divine consciousness. So you could see this as previously means when there was nothing, there was only one thing. Even the consciousness and awareness were also embedded in one form. But later, awareness came out of consciousness, right? So it means in the story, if you observe, when Sanjana cannot bear the heat, it means the individual consciousness, the individual uh, awareness, you can say, the awareness cannot stay merged in the full intensity of the divine consciousness all the time. So it wanted to come out of that. So it must descend to some more tangible levels, like the human mind coming down from meditation into our daily life. When you are in meditation, you are in some other state. When you're coming out of the meditation, you are in another state. Similarly, when this awareness was embedded in consciousness, it was in some other state, but it wanted to come out. And in the story, you can see it is becoming a mare, a female horse, taking the form of prana. It's actually taking the form of life force. So when Sanjana becomes a mare, it signifies the awareness, which is nothing but the Sanjana, enters the realm of motion and breath, the vital world, the prana loka, the earth that you're seeing now. So the heart's form is not about an animal shape at all. It's a metaphor for dynamic, life-bound consciousness that now moves within time and nature, that you can see clearly. It's very much tangible. That's why the whole life is created. So coming to earth means, it's not like a female horse is coming to earth. It's coming to earth means descending into some material creation, and becoming a mare means taking on a body animated by prana, the life energy, right? So just see Surya following her, taking horse form in the story, right? Means the consciousness did not stay there. It also, the divine consciousness, which is sun, also enters that same level of vibration. The vibration in which this awareness reached, the same vibration this particular consciousness also reached. So this consciousness joins awareness in the field of life. Their union at that level gives birth to the Ashwins, Ashwini Kumaras. Those are, one is life and the one is healing. So it's a kind of healing, balance and rejuvenation, the harmony between spirit and life force. This whole thing, you can say, this whole process happened where? In the universe, where it happened in the Ashwini Nakshatra, the place where Ashwini Nakshatra is present in the sky. That is the place this particular whole creation started, right? That is the place where the whole universe, the creation of the whole universe started. See, the story is about how divine consciousness, that is the sun, enters creation through awareness by transforming into life force. The life force in Vedic terminology, in Vedas, the life force is always associated with horses, because when a horse is moving, just see the steps are resembling our heartbeat, and the kind of breath a horse takes when it is running, it is just not the breath, it is actually it is actually giving a sense that it's not just a breath, it is something before breath. That breath idea is very much present there. It's not just a breath, it is the root of breath that can be said as prana, right? And that energy, which is actually that energy, it's not the life, it's not the healing, it is prana, which is actually giving the life and also healing. And life and healing both are actually corresponding to each other, able to create this whole thing, right? So prana, Ashwini means prana, I would say. Ashwini is not just a horse, it is the prana. The prana which is actually giving the birth to two Kumaras, those are Ashwini Kumaras. That one is life, another one is healing. So clearly you can see this Ashwini Nakshatra, the place where this whole creation, the unity of this pure consciousness and awareness happened, you know. So that is the place, that is the place of creation, that is the place of creation. So I wanted to repeat, when there was nothing, only two things were present: consciousness and awareness. And this consciousness and awareness, they united. Actually, the awareness separated from consciousness and make a form which is a kind of earthly form. I'm saying here earthly form, something like a life-giving form. Then consciousness also followed awareness, and they united in a vibrational domain, in a plane where prana is actually prana is actually created. Prana is Ashwini, that nakshatra that you're seeing. The prana is that Ashwini. And from that prana, two things were born. One is life and another one is healing. And thereby the whole creation happened. So it's a beautiful cosmic love story, right? It's not just a story. It's of course a mythological story, because mythology is the only way that our Vedic sees expressed the real spiritual things happened billions and billions of years ago, right? So if you just see it in as outer part is with some physical form, you can only see Sun, Sanjana, Ashwini Kumaras, and then, right? So this is the story of this one. We'll try to talk about much more interesting things about this one in our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching this video.